Hey, need some help on this one? Let's check it out together, okay? So, first thing we always do is draw our line down the middle. So I'm going to start and draw a line. Ooh, look how straight that was. Nice. So, next thing I always like to do is read the problem out loud and take a look at what I've got. So I've got not negative. I've got 1/3, so a fraction, and x minus 6 equals a negative 12. All right, so part of this at least I recognize. It doesn't look like there's not one big fraction, so it's not a special case problem. But what it does have is a fraction that I have to deal with. So part of it at least I understand what to do with. Part of it looks familiar. I know I've got this minus 6 that I'm going to have to get rid of. And then I've got 1/3 times x. So whenever you see a fraction next to an x, the easiest thing to do is just to think of it as putting the x in the top with the fraction, right? Because if I look at this is actually 1/3 times x. And it's the same as multiplying 1/3 times x. So if I have 1/3 and I multiply it by x, whenever we multiply a fraction by a value, it always helps to make the other one a fraction. I can make any number a fraction by putting it over 1, right? So then 1 times x is 1x, and 3 times 1 is 3. So you end up with 1x divided by 3, but we never, just like we don't write a 0, we don't write a 1 in front of the x, because it's assumed if I write x, that's 1x, right? So we don't write the 1, we just keep x divided by 3. So here, when we're multiplying 1/3 by x, it's going to be the exact same thing as writing it this way, as x divided by 3. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and write it out as x divided by 3. That way I don't get too confused with my problem. Because I'm rewriting that part, I'm going to rewrite the whole problem. I know it's extra work, you don't love that, but trust me, it'll save you time in the end because you won't have to do the problem again. And then I have my minus 6 is equal to negative 12. Now, this looks like a normal two-step problem. And that's because it is. And in a normal two-step problem, we always start by getting rid of any adding or subtract chain. So here, I have minus 6. So to get rid of that, I do plus 6. Woohoo! That's the opposite. They cancel out. That's our first step. Okay, so once I have canceled this out, it makes 0. So now I have x divided by 3 plus 0. And we don't write that 0. On the other side, I have to do both sides. Negative 12 plus 6. So if I have negative 12 and I make that bigger by 6, now I have negative 6. All right. So remember, when we're talking about a fraction here, we're really talking about division. I can say x 1/3 of x, or I can say x divided by 3, right? So since this is division, I always get rid of division by doing the opposite of dividing, which is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. Multiplying by 3 makes this 1x, because if I have 3 divided by 3, anything divided by itself is 1. So this is just 1x. We don't write 1 because we're already writing x. So that's gone, and I bring down my x, which is the only thing left now that I've done my second step. Then negative times a positive is a negative, and 6 times 3 is 18. X equals 18. Okay? So our first step was to rewrite the problem with x in the numerator as a fraction. Then just proceed like normal with my first step of getting rid of addition, subtraction, and our second step is getting rid of that division.